Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Small Attainable Goals. I'm Sean, and today I'm going to be looking at memes. They're mental health memes because we like to keep it on, topic around here. And also, I really need a good laugh because it's just been a really stressful week. And let's get started. Yeah, when you suffer from depression and somebody tells you to cheer up, your first instinct is if it happens all the time, your first instinct is to just be like, screw you. That's fair. Uh, that's what mine usually is. But then usually I'll come back with something much like this with, a wise ass remark and just be like, oh, really? I never thought of that. I don't know why people do that. And I don't know why they try to tell you to just cheer up or get over it or don't worry about it when you're being anxious. I guess maybe they're trying to be nice. Maybe they're trying to be helpful, but they're not. And if you're one of the people who does this, you're not being helpful. If you're trying to be helpful, that's great. Try harder. Just do something better. And what can you do? Just ask them how they're really doing and don't tell them how to cheer up or anything. And never tell anyone to go for a walk in the sun. I don't I don't know why people always think that that's like the cure all for everything. Like it's not. Like sure, if you're having a bad day and you go out in the sun, it could make you feel a little bit better. But if you're clinically depressed, it's not going to cure you. Going out and getting sun rays directly shot into your, I don't know, the areas where the sun don't shine. I've heard people do that. Next up, this one's pretty relatable for me and probably anyone who has ADD or ADHD. I forget immediately after someone asks me to do something if I don't find it interesting at all. And usually I don't find it interesting, whatever you're asking me to do. So if you have somebody that you care about and you're asking them to do stuff and then they immediately forget, they're really not ignoring you. They're just completely forgetting about it. Try to jazz it up. I remember when I was a kid, my dad would always like notice that I would forget things. And I mean, great, he should have probably got me tested for ADD, but back in the 90s, the only way you got like certified for ADD was like if you were getting up in the middle of a classroom and like running around in circles and just not doing homework or something. And you were doing that in the middle of class. But my dad would always try to like keep me interested in whatever we were doing. So if I had to like clean up sticks in the yard or something, he would make a game out of it. So he would make a game out of everything. Cleaning my room was a game. Um, you know, cleaning up the backyard, uh, cleaning up dog poop. That was a big one. We had a bucket, and I would always try to throw it into the bucket. It's not a sanitary game or a good game, but it was a game, and my ADD ass loved it because I was just throwing stuff in the yard. Next up, it's really hard when you're seeing a therapist, especially like a new one, or you're seeing a psychiatrist and you just met them. It's hard to trust them, and it's really, really hard to just like be honest with them because you don't know this person right away, and you don't know what to say to them. And also, you don't want them to think that you are incredibly crazy. And oh, yeah, like this one. Uh, just be honest with your therapist. They're not going to lock you up or anything. And if they do, they're not going to just like whisk you away. They'll probably try to convince you into doing it, and sometimes it might be the best thing for you, especially if you're having like breaks from reality or something like that, or you're just completely disassociated with everything. Mine never got so bad that I needed to be institutionalized, my depression or my anxiety. Um, but I did have a doctor one time. They did explain it to me. They were like, "Look, you can go in and like a lot of people do that because they have like full-time jobs and stuff, and it makes more sense because then if you get checked in under doctor recommendation, then sometimes your insurance covers it, and also you get time off of work, and that gives them the amount of time to get your medications right and just keep you under observation for a while. And that's great. um, I was lucky enough, I guess, to not have a job. And yeah, I mean, it was lucky at the time. It sucked at the time too, but in hindsight, it was lucky because I could just deal with everything at home and I didn't have to like, go away to anywhere. So that was good for me. Plus, my psychiatrist would probably have never done that because I always have really bad anxiety about being trapped places. That was one of the reasons that I hated school because I felt like I couldn't go anywhere. Mainly because at our schools, if you left, the cops would come and get you because, truancy is a big deal. This one happens to me a lot. It happened a lot more before all of my friends started having kids and, like full time jobs that they needed to be at early in the morning. But in my 20s, this would happen all the time. They'd be like, "Hey, what's your plans this weekend?" And I'd just be like, "I got nothing. I got nothing." Like, "Oh, yeah, you should come out with us." And I'm just like, "No, I'm just going to stay home and be anxious and be afraid to go out and be around people." Yay, agoraphobia. This one's really relatable. Um, when I'm so used to constantly being anxious about stuff and just being nervous all the time that when everything starts going right for me, I start to immediately hyperfixate on stupid things and just expect the other shoe, like proverbial shoe, to drop. So, yeah. And I also always have that really dumb looking smile on my face. This is just my brain. I this is not even really a meme. This is just my brain all the time. I'm just constantly thinking like, what if it happens? And then there's like a little voice in my head that's like, that's not going to happen. The logical side of my brain. But then the anxiety is like, but what if it does? And then anxiety usually wins. But that's the thing, people. You can't let anxiety win. Yeah, this goes back with the first one where just don't look, if you want to help people, helping them is not going to be in the form of you telling them like you have such a good life compared to other people. Like, yes, I understand that. And that just makes them more depressed. Like I am fully aware and I've always been aware that I have a lot easier life than a lot of people. But for some reason I couldn't feel any happiness, which sucked. And just comparing me to other people and being like, these people have it worse and they're doing better. And I'm like, yes, I'm aware of that. And that just made me hate myself more because I'm like, oh, now I'm ungrateful. When in truth, my brain just isn't making the right chemicals and just, wasn't doing what it was supposed to do. So don't ever try to like calm people down by tearing them down, if that makes sense. Yeah. I've felt like this a lot of times. This is probably the most relatable one when you're super just exhausted and people are just like, "Hey, how you doing?" And you're just like, "I'm not dead. I'm still here." They're just like, "Okay, um, I just wanted you to say good. but you got a little too truthful for me. I feel personally attacked by this one, um, especially because there's a cute dog in the front. And in my defense, my audience isn't necessarily imaginary. I know at least my grandmother watches. So thank you, Grandma. This one's kind of relatable, but also at the same time, when the majority of people ask you, "Hey, man, how's it going?" they don't actually want to know. And like, if your best friend asks you, or one of your family members, or like someone who loves you asks you, like, "Hey, how's it going?" they probably actually want to know. And you really should talk to them and you should tell them how it's really going because they do care and they do want to know how you're doing. And if you're struggling, they want to help you. That being said, if someone at work that you don't even know their name says, "Hey, how's it going?" "Hey, dude, you all right?" They don't actually want to hear your life story. They're just trying to fill the void of just the silence of seeing you in the hallway. Yeah. So, you don't have to like trauma dump on them and tell them everything that's going on in your life. They'll probably be happy that you don't. But you really should talk to somebody. So if you're going through struggles, call a therapist or just call a really good friend. And if you don't have any really good friends, call a therapist or a psychiatrist because they will be like a best friend. You just have to pay them. And honestly, they might even be cheaper than some best friends because I have had friends over the years who just constantly want to go out and do stuff, and it just costs so much money. So much money. This one goes back to the other one. Just be honest with your therapist. Build some trust with them. I mean, don't completely tell them every single crazy facet of your life right when you meet them, but just be honest with them once you get to know them, and they're not going to try to hurt you. They're legally required to do what's best for you. Like they are legally bound to do what is right for you and what will help you the most. So just be honest with your therapist. Don't hide stuff from them. I mean, like, you can hide like the weird stuff that really doesn't affect your life at all, like how you steal extra Oreos sometimes, or, you know, you eat too many cookies once a week. You can keep that to yourself, but the deep dark secrets, like, just tell somebody. Just tell your therapist, please. Thank you for watching Small Obtainable Goals. Hopefully, this helped you in some way or another, or it can, help somebody that you know. If you're having trouble, call 988. That's the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, and they'll, hook you up with somebody who can help you in your local area. It's all free, so, take advantage of it. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, or don't, whatever makes you happy. I'm Sean. This is my sister, Kirsten.
I'm Kirsten.
Yeah. You've ruined it. All right. Thanks, everybody.
And cut.